I have worked now with over 500 online coaches, and most of them cannot sell their services whatsoever. In today's video, I want to tell you exactly the 5 biggest dumb mistakes that online coaches tend to make that completely kill your sales. And the problem with this is the fact that these mistakes cost you not a couple of $100s. If you have been online in space for a little while, this costs you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's a problem. Now, I'm not in this space that James Smith says that, hey, you don't need a sales school. People are just going to buy from you. Yes, they will. However, you will have to be on social media and you have to provide so much goodwill for years and years and years. For example, James Smith himself has been on social media since 2016. Given the fact that he's been around for 10 years, yes, people will buy from him without a sales call. But you and I, people who have not been on social media for 10 years, people who have not got thousands and thousands of followers or millions of followers, things are a little bit different. We will have to jump on a call with our prospects and tell them about our services and give them a compelling reason in order to buy from us. So in today's video, I want to tell you the 5 biggest dumb mistakes that a lot of my clients tend to make that when we fix, things change very, very quickly. Now, for those of you that don't know, my name is Ben Alistair. I've made over 8 million in terms of online sales. I've been coaching over 500 people. In today's video, I want to cover sales. So, first things first, I want to give you a little bit of a story. I have a client called Lisa. Now, Lisa is one of my best clients ever. Like, I'm talking an action taker more than anybody I've ever worked with. And when I started working with her, she told me she's got a leads problem. If only she got more leads, she will be making more sales. And she was making around 45K in a single month, which is better than a zero, right? So she's clearly making a few sales here and there. Now, over the next week or so, she started sending me sales recordings and she was telling me, hey, can you listen to them and see where I'm potentially going wrong? Because this lead didn't close, this lead didn't close, this lead didn't close, and this lead didn't close, right? And when I listened to the sales calls, number 1, they were not that great, but we fixed it. Number 2, she was clearly focusing on the wrong thing. Instead of going for leads, it actually wasn't the problem. It was actually her sales call strategy. So over the next month, once we identified the real bottleneck, which a lot of online coaches do, believe it or not, is not actually getting more leads, it's actually selling on a call. And then her close rate went from 10% to 40%, and the very following month she made over 14K, and now recently she made 32K in a single month without making massive changes on her social media, without posting more content or anything like that. And believe it or not, it was just her sales skills, which is I want to talk about today. So first mistake, and probably the biggest one, I'm not leaving you until the very end of the video. I want to give you the biggest mistake that people tend to make in the very beginning, and that is they believe that if they're going to coach people on a sales call, they're going to be compelled to buy. And that is a problem, okay? A sales call is a sales call. It's a diagnosis call. It is not a coaching call. The amount of times I have heard sales calls that are actually just master consultation calls is endless. And you have to think about it. Where does it come from? Well, in most cases, it comes from 2 areas. Number 1, it's imposter syndrome, okay? If you're a brand new coach or you've been in the game only for a few months, you're not sure if you are good enough, and therefore you're going to overcommit, over-deliver, provide as much knowledge as you possibly can in order to show somebody, said, hey, look how much I provided to you, now you can buy from me because look how knowledgeable I am. And the reality is, let's be honest, you probably have had this before, you go on a sales call, you provide all of this information, the guy says, great, thank you so much, I'll think about it. And then ghosted. You never hear from them again. That is a problem, okay? A coaching call is different to a sales call. Second problem is the fact that you just want to give. You just want to say, hey, I'm going to give as much value as possible. And if they are aligned with me, they will see exactly how I coach, and therefore I'm going to get that sale. And what happens once again? Nothing. It doesn't work. You've given them pretty much the whole roadmap of what they need to do, and they will not need to pay for you. So essentially, you give them a free consultation call. So what I need to do is essentially tell you the foundational thing as to what is a sales call in the first place. And that is a diagnosis call. It is a discovery call. The whole purpose of a sales call is to find out if your client is in pain in the first place. What is their current situation? Because if their current situation is great and they're perfectly fine with their problems, they don't have any need to fix those problems, there is nothing you can say or do to change that, okay? And also what you want to do is you want to find out their ideal outcome. So if they are working with you, what exactly do they want? Are they realistic about their outcome? For example, one of my clients had a call where on the call they said, yeah, right now I'm making 0, but by the end of the year I want to make around 100K in a single month. And we had to make sure that those expectations are very, very clear and realistic. So imagine this. Imagine you go to a doctor and all of a sudden the doctor all of a sudden speaks to you about their degree and what they've learned and what they should be doing and so on and so forth. Yes, it's great, but is it actually valuable? What they tend to do is they ask you a whole bunch of questions, a whole bunch of information gathering, and then they will say, hey, I've got medicine A, I've got medicine B, which one you're going to go for? It's really that simple. So that is the type of way that you need to come into a sales school and think. You are a doctor, you are the expert, and you are here right now to find out about their situation, number one, and number two, find out exactly whether or not you are a good fit for each other in order to work long term, okay? So stop coaching, start diagnosing and selling the outcome. That's number one. Number two is, and this is a big one, I will see this problem time and time again because when you go into a Fathom recording, you will see how much did one person speak and how much did the other person speak. Here's the problem. On a sales call, not a consultation call, the prospect, the lead, should be speaking 80% of the time. Your job is to ask good, qualifying questions and then let them speak. Let them tell you about their situation. Let them tell you exactly what they're going through. Let them figure out exactly what they want, and you figure out for yourself whether or not that person is a good person to work with. The last thing you want to do is speak for the vast majority of the time. Like one of my clients did. We jumped on a call, okay? I opened up the Fathom recording and I'm like, okay, it's not bad. Like this person has spoken the vast majority of the time. You've spoken very little. And then I realized, wait, hold on. It was actually my client that was speaking for 85% of the time, and the lead himself was speaking for 15% of the time. He was literally just bombarding this woman with a whole bunch of information. And guess what happened in the end? She didn't buy. She had to think about it. She had to ponder over it. She had to speak with her husband, blah, blah, blah. What happened? Nothing. She ghosted him left, right, and center. So what he did was just giving so much information. And that's what you don't want to do. So when I speak to my clients and I go on a sales call, the very first thing I will check is how much time did you speak and how much time did they speak? You need to be speaking a whole lot less in vast majority of cases, okay? And also, believe it or not, the person that asks good, intelligent questions controls the frame and controls the sales call. If all of a sudden the lead starts asking you questions and you now have to explain yourself, that is a problem. They are now controlling the sales call, and that's not how it should be, okay? Now, these are a little bit more advanced tactics that I speak with my clients all the time, but just remember, your job is to ask good, intelligent questions and get them to realize what they need and what they want, and then you relay it back to them, okay? Number three, and that is a big one. That is taking on everybody, okay? Remember, it is a discovery call for a reason. Okay, I understand you may be just getting started, you just want to get a client. However, if somebody is bashing you down on price, if somebody is asking, hey, can you give me a discount? Can you give me a deal? Can I pay you over the next 12-month period, and so on and so forth? You want to ideally not take these clients on. I understand you may need the money straight away, but they will take up so much of your time and headspace and stress and issues that you're just going to regret taking that client on in the first place, and they may actually end up getting a refund anyways, okay? So be a little bit picky and specific with who exactly you want to work with, and sometimes just taking on everybody could be a very bad deal, okay? So Ask questions like, for example, what do you ideally expect from a coach? Ask questions like, how would you like to work together? What are your expectations? What is your opinion of a good coach? And what is your opinion of a bad coach? What happens when things don't work out? What kind of communication style do you like? Do you want to be passively coached, i.e. you will come to me when you have a problem? Or do you want to be actively coached, i.e. I'm going to be a babysitter and I will chase you up when I don't hear from you time and time again? Those sorts of questions are really important, because if you're going to work with somebody, ideally you want to work with them long term. And it is beautiful to work with people who you align very well, and it's an absolutely nightmare to work with people who don't align. And having coached now over 500 people, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the last thing you want to do is basically get yourself a headache and then having to refund money and then potentially getting a bad review and bad publicity and all that sort of stuff, right? So be more picky and choose clients that you really want to work with. Now, next up, let's be honest, the vast majority of you probably don't like sales calls. You don't really want to sell your services. You just want them to buy from you and then you can start the coaching side of things, okay? I understand. However, don't hate the player, hate the game, okay? You're just gonna have to bear through it. You're just gonna have to learn it. And believe it or not, once you do a few sales calls and you actually make some money, you start to enjoy them a little bit more. The reason why I say this is really simple is because the vast majority of coaches that I work with give up on the objections way too easily. Once we have figured out the whole structure and the situation and the pain and the outcome, and then we drop the price, and then they give us objections, we should be expecting the objections to come. Matter of fact, I have been on so many sales calls when there is no objection. It's very surprising to me, okay? Expect it, okay? That's totally normal. And you need to now develop a framework, which I teach to my clients, on how to overcome these objections. So for example, if they say I need to think about it, great. What is it exactly that you need to think about? Since we are on this call right now, I'm going to provide you with all the information. You sound like somebody who's an action taker. Give them a little bit of a reputation to live up to. What is it that is missing right now in order to make a decision right now? If somebody says, hey, I need to speak with my wife or my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my dog or my cat, who gives a shit, okay? What you need to think about is, okay, not a problem. Are they here right now? Maybe we can get them on a call to make sure that we get started as soon as possible. How about if they say no? Are you not going to work with me anyway? Why would they say no? And how about this? How about I just take 25%, a fully refundable deposit, so in case they do say no, I'm just going to give you the money with no questions asked whatsoever. At least we now know that you are committed and ready to get started. And once you show your commitment to your significant partner, things may be different because they can clearly see that you are taking this seriously, okay? These are all really important things because the last thing you want to do is expect an objection, get an objection, and then you just let them go. Okay, you need to think about it, not a problem. Let's schedule a call 3-4 weeks from now because maybe by that point you have thought about it and you may actually buy from me. And what happens in 99% of the cases when that is the case? Nothing. They will either tell you they're not interested, they will completely ghost you, but the reality is this: there is a zero in your bank account, and let's be honest, we don't really want that. And last but not least, in a sales call, your job is twofold. Number one, ask intelligent questions, and number two, take bloody notes. Say exactly and remember what they are telling you. Don't just remember it, write it down. If they are telling you about their situation and their struggles, write down what those struggles are. If they're telling you about what the ideal outcome is and you want to make millions and millions of dollars, put that down and you can relay it back to you, okay? If they're telling you about their story, why they choose this particular field, why they're on a sales call right now with you, write those things down because that's how you will be able to relay that information back, ask intelligent questions, and will make that sales call so much smoother because guess what? Subconsciously, they are judging you every single second on that call, okay? And that is important. And when you say, hey, I heard that you have gone through divorce, you've lost half of your money, your kids don't even see you that much anymore, how does that make you feel? They will subconsciously think, okay, this person actually listened to me. He's treating me as an individual. He's treating me like a human. And therefore, I am much more likely to buy from him because he understands what I'm going through. So make sure to take notes. The last thing I want to see is, for example, if you work with me, we jump on a sales call, and then you have not relayed any of the information that these leads have given to you. Because let's be honest, they're going to spend 10, 20, 30 minutes of their valuable time to speak to you. The least thing you can do is listen, take notes, pay attention, and relay that information back so they can understand that you're actually a decent coach and you care about the outcome that they want to achieve. So, with all of that being said, hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully you will pay a lot more attention to your sales calls because like I said, that can make a difference between you having a zero in your account and $10, $20, $30,000 in your account. If you do need a little bit of help with your online business, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.